I'm Fred Ogola. I'm a strategist and a decision-making expert. I just wanted to reflect with you something that just came to my mind about COVID-19. And the question is, does COVID-19 present the worst possible moment for democracy in Africa, but also for opposition parties in Africa, but in the world over? It's not a long time ago when there was a battle between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders on who was going to become the nominee for Democratic seat to face Trump in this year's election. Just the other day, we saw that Bernie Sanders has given up to this seat and handed over the mandate to Joe Biden to continue. It is surprising because remember, Bernie Sanders had run this campaign against Hillary Clinton, and he gave it because he was having a good chance, but he gave it to Hillary Clinton. It's surprising that he's giving it now to Joe Biden. Could something be very important to analyze here? Let's just discuss a little bit about the US a little bit. Bernie Sanders was a very strong candidate. And by that time, the whole country was picking into nominating who was going to be the person who will take over Trump in the next election. But all of a sudden with COVID-19, all those guys became irrelevant. Everybody went home and was hiding. And the most important people now became the US governors. Now, if you're a governor, you have a budget to look for how you can either prevent or fight or, if you like, cure COVID-19. And that became very clear, and that's why Bernie Sanders just discovered this is a very difficult time for opposition. Opposition cannot win a government, and a government, anybody who is a government has a bigger incentive to win the next president election, because there are so many tools available for them. They have budget, they have a situation they can use to prove their case, they can demonstrate that they are good leaders at this crisis moment to prove that they are better. But let's come back home and look at what was happening in Kenya before that. What was happening in Kenya was that BBI was the best thing to do. Raila Odinga was in every county drumming support for change of constitution to prepare for the election for 2022. When COVID came, Raila had to also go in hiding. Everybody is lying on their back, trying to rest and wait when COVID-19 will end. Look what happened again at the moment. Museveni, the other time, immediately COVID-19 came, he declared that the next year's election won't take place because of the fact that people cannot be exposed to COVID-19 just because of trying to elect a leader. And I'm thinking this is something that Africa needs to be very careful about, because now people are making so much noise about COVID-19, and other crises will arise. So we have to be careful not to create another political crisis just because of COVID-19 crisis. Now, I just had some research and found out, you know what? Burkina Faso is due for election this year. Burundi is due for election this year. Cote d'Ivoire is in the same route. Ethiopia is also going for election this year. Guinea-Bissau, Ghana, Niger, Tanzania, Seychelles, Sudan, Togo, and of course, Kenya is also due for it in 2 years. This is a time when opposition has no budget to do campaign because they will not be listened to. Guys want to hear about COVID-19. We are starting to realize that governors in Kenya are becoming more prominent. For example, what is Kivutha Kibwana doing in Makueni? Joho has become as a #1 governor in Kenya to prove that he can be a leader. I'm trying to say COVID-19 can define the future of some politicians. And if you don't mind, those who are governors are starting to be more prominent, like senior people like Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka. Who is Kalonzo Musyoka now compared to Makueni governor Kivutha Kibwana in the COVID-19 war, compared to Joho? Raila Odinga does not have a budget for COVID-19, but Joho has some budget for COVID-19. So this is a moment when governors in Kenya can rise up to show that they can let what has happened in the US for a long time, whereby governors still becoming good governors proved that they can become good presidents, and therefore governorship will become a way to test yourself whether you can actually win national politics. I think this is how COVID-19 is affecting the opposition in every part of the world, but in Kenya, especially in this scenario of COVID-19. Thank you.